Stream. Stream. Welcome to the stream. Stream. I'm just going to start singing at the beginning because that's less awkward than being like, hello? Hello? Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Stream. We're back with some more great Ace Attorney. Uh, we're we're gonna play for an hour, like no more than an hour, like 2 hours probably ish. Uh, when we left off, I stopped in the middle of another segment of an investigation segment. It's hard to tell whether we have. It's hard to tell whether we have like an hour left. It's hard to. We could have an hour left of investigation before the trial. We could have another. I I very well may have stopped 20 minutes before a to be continued screen again. I hope I didn't, but I very much could have. Um, it really depends. So we're hunting down this guy called Enoch Drebber, I believe is his name. Uh, and we sent Gina and Toby the dog to go find. We sent them to go find uh Drebber's lab. I'm blanking. Uh, so it really depends. How quickly we get to the trial depends on whether we actually get to go to Drebber's lab or not. As you can see, we're not at Drebber's lab. We're at this weird wax museum graveyard exhibit that is a very odd thing to have in the background because I stopped at a very odd place, as usual for this case. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. It's so weird. Daylight savings time happened last weekend, and it's like, I mean, 5:30 is a little earlier than I usually start stream, but it's weird. Like, I'm not used to streaming with the light of day coming into my room at like 5:30 p.m. You know, like even if I had started stream at 6, which is a more normal start time for me, there would still be sun pouring in here. Like, I was I was gonna play this game last week. I guess first I should say, because I said I was gonna play again last week, like twice, but I was literally out doing stuff every day from like last Tuesday, I think, when I streamed, up until this Monday, and then the last 2 days, daylight savings time got my brain confused. I'm taking naps right around this time, and then I wake up and it's like 8:30, and I feel like it's too late to start the stream for me. But that's why we're gonna start now, so I don't end up not playing again. Because tomorrow I'm busy, and I am itching to continue. I am itching to at least get to the trial. Like, that's the goal. We will be playing until we get to the trial, and maybe further if it's just like, oh, 20 minutes and you're in the trial, then I will keep playing. But when we left off, we made it here. We're at Madame Toospel's waxwork exhibit room. Okay, alright. We're sneezing already, and it's 3 minutes into the stream. That's a good sign. That must be the killer. The fiend known as the Professor. So this is a waxwork display of a killer known as the Professor. I don't need to recap too much. There's one viewer here, and I'm assuming it's the same one viewer that I consistently have at least one viewer for these streams. So I'm gonna assume if it is the same person, I don't need to recap. If it's not, I'm just gonna keep going anyway. According to what Madame Toospel said, he killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place, it feels too loud, but also like 40 is where I normally have it. Wait, I can just turn my headset down a little bit. There we go. Let me check and make sure the audio levels are good. I also didn't share the stream link with the Discord that my friends are in. Not that it really matters. I can just keep playing while I do that. Most of my friends are out right now anyway. I just really wanted to play this game, so I kind of ditched them. They're watching a movie I've already seen, so I kind of ditched them to play this. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like, all the models in this place. I know. It looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. Yeah, where's its head? I feel like it's supposed to have a head. This is like Professor Layton-y music. Very Professor Layton-y music. It's a good time. I'm very excited for Professor Layton. You might be able to tell from my... I can't tab into it while the game's open, but my computer background is Layton. Because Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. They actually recently showed off actual... Like, there was an actual trailer for the game. It might actually come out this year. Which is sooner than I expected, for sure. From that, like, very brief tease they had in the Nintendo Direct. But anyway, I am getting distracted. We're playing this game right now. Maybe we'll play Professor Layton New World of Steam someday, if it comes to Steam. With Steam in the name, I feel it could be a waste not to. So this is the condemned man? Yes, the so-called professor. Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine? But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost! Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Miss Susato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see? Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forgot to reattach it? That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum? Okay, so how is this headless wax figure that they took and then returned, what were they using it for, and how is it connected to my case? That's the real question here. There has to be some reason. It means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor... Maybe that's the purpose? To obscure the face? Hide their identity? What? There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. A piece of broken glass. What about broken glass? That seems important. That seems like it could be from the Crystal Tower? I don't know. About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say. Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder? Suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength? But why? Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area. The Crystal Tower! The Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition. But why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside this waxwork's jacket? It makes you think, doesn't it? It's connected. It's all connected. Earlier in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. And now we discover this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. I think they needed this waxwork for some kind of trick. Some kind of chicanery. Some kind of tomfoolery. What else? Is there anything else to click on, or was that it? Okay, I guess that was it. Now let's see what is the deal with this other figure over here. This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. It seems to be a young man in a white overcoat. And he has a large shovel in his hand too. Look. Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail. It's curious that we're not seeing his face. Oh, okay. Let's look at his face. I can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just... Oh, do you think you should be touching that, Naruhodo? I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Let's see that face. Let's get a look at those cheekers. That face of yours. Let's get a look at that face of yours. A monocle. What on earth? How can... A black monocle? Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible that this man is... Yes. It's Enoch Drebber. He doesn't have white hair here, though. Or maybe he does, and the lighting's just bad? I don't know. No, the color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes. This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here? And why does the convict behind him have no head? No head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then the case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head tout de suite, as Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry iris still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations. Do you know, though, something about this room is strange. Something about this room is sus. Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not? Indeed they are, Miss Susato. Do go on. And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... Why is he rising from the grave? This surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it? I think it's time I educated you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Lore dump! Lore dump! I was worried it was going to be like face reveal Enoch Drebber and then cut straight to the trial. And then I would be like, oh great, well I'm so glad I didn't just start from the to be continued. But no, it seems like there's a bit of investigating to do still. I just hope we get to go to Drebber's secret lab. The Drebber Secret Laboratory. I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? On the last stream, in fact. He took the lives of 5 victims, everyone being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies. I feel like his voice is getting higher. I don't know why. Oh gosh, an enormous hound? How awful. After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand. Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. Closed court? So you mean the professor's his identity is unknown to the public. His identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. But was he really killed? Like, why would they not make, like, just because the trial was behind closed doors doesn't mean his identity should be behind closed doors. I think the professor is definitely still alive, and, the identity of the professor is going to be a major plot point. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been held. However, that was not the end of the affair. He broke out of his cell. The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Almost like maybe they never killed him. Came back to life. He crawled his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene, as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. There was a witness? But of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber. He saw it happen? I think Enoch Drebber is the real criminal, or at least like a helper of the professor, and Von Zieks took this case to get at Enoch Drebber. Because that's sort of the in theory, is Von Zieks kind of has ulterior motives for taking all of these cases. There's always like a fish to fry. Except maybe the Soseki ones. I think that one might just be racism. I don't know. But the young witness. So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. It's so horrifying. Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Okay. I mean, his hair is white now. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here to Madame Tussaud's. I can't quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. But what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place. Yeah, he's got... Why is there blood on the shovel? Or like, you know, like fake blood? You know, like stage blood? Or maybe it's just... Actually, it's all over, so maybe it's just the weird lighting in here. I don't know. But why did he have a shovel? What was he doing in the middle of a graveyard at night? There's more info, isn't there? The professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say. The very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of... Wait, what? Wait, what do you mean a dog? What are you talking about? In time, of course, the rumors abate. Are we just gonna gloss over the... No killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of... What? We're just gonna gloss over that lore? Okay. Was that something we already knew and I just forgot? So too did talk of the shocking witness. The account of the convict who came back to life. They stopped talking about it. It was forgotten. Dismissed as a dubious ghost story, a preposterous parlor tale. But why did people stop believing it? Why, simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact. What do you mean? The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. But that would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers. That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now. So there is no head on the wax figure, right? If nobody knows his identity, then that's the way it was designed. Which then makes you wonder, like, what? Why take the wax figure and give it back? Like, what purpose does that... Huh. It's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. Weird. What other evidence do I have? Hey, Sholmes, what about broken glass? As you will see, I'm rather busy at the moment. If it's advice you seek, come to my office tomorrow. Shall we say, threepence per item as a consolation fee? Okay. Alright. Let's look around a little more. I feel like we haven't fully examined you. This part of the exhibit is just... Such a weird zoomed in angle. Why does he have a camera? What's this here? Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera. A camera? But it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. They're not canon. They're not canon to historical lore. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film? We're just gonna take the camera from the wax exhibit? Okay. Wait, there's a picture? Is this actually from him at the crime scene, or is it just... Hold on. No, I didn't... What's happening? It just shut me out. I wanted to investigate the shovel. Oh, hi, Gina. What are you doing here? What the bleeding order, Odo? What have you gone and done? Gina, what are you doing here? I asked Itis, and she said this is where you'd be, so... So! Why is she firing guns again? Not so loud in the museum. Madame Two Spills would have you take a position as a waxwork if you're not careful. I think there might be a more pressing concern. I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so... So! What are you doing, Gina? Please put down the gun. She was so well behaved earlier. What's she all grumpy about now? Sorry, I got scared. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So what brings... I thought you were using Toby to trail the... What brings me here? What do you think? We found it. We found that Dodgy Cove's workshop. Yes. Drebber's lab. Drebber's lab. Drebber's laboratory. Toby's knows he took me straight there. The boss and the others heading over there now. The boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag. So come on. Here's the address. I got the bus to write it out. Yes, I was worried we weren't going to be able to investigate this. Let's go. Let's go! I didn't stop stream 20 minutes before to be continued this time. You go. You go. Don't mind me. Or just stay here. Being still. What? Where are my eyes? Why does he not have eyes? I know my place. In the exhibit over there. Is that a rendering error? Why didn't he have eyes? Someone is feeling sorry for himself. Where are his eyes? Where are his eyes? You're coming, Mr. Sholmes. We need to get you out of here. Your eyes are disappearing. I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. Yes, we need Sholmes' investigative prowess. Let's go. Back to the lab. Oh, back to the lab. As if we've never been to the lab before, but we're going back to the lab. Drebber's workshop, 23rd October. In Drebber's lab. Drebber's laboratory. That looks like... Oh, it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it would appear so. They're only a prototype, naturally. Ah, so you got here then. Gina, well done for finding this place. And in such little time, you've really worked miracles. It's Toby is the miracle worker. Toby the dog, let's go! Woof! Why is Gregson squinting like that? What? Like, first Sholmes has no eyes, and then Gregson's squinting like that. What is going on? Also, I have pretzels this time. Because I knew I've Pavloved myself into being hungry whenever this character shows up on screen. Ah! Thought you lot would show up before long. Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. Yeah, why is he squinting like that? He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of pretzels. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to, say, go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Oh yeah, he's going to France. Gregson's in Paris. Anyway, if you open to snoop around in here, I'd get cracking. Lord Von Zeeks and the forensic investigation team are on the way here as we speak. Them again. I imagine you've got the picture by now. I don't take too kindly to lawyer types. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we still have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon? They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers. Very droll, Gregson. Very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. One with no eyes for some reason. Right then. Let's see what we can find in here. Alright, a couple things stick out to me. First of all, what is this? A European-style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside. Oh, do you suppose... Crossbow bolts, these. And just the right size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words... Yup, that's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show that Drebber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. Alright, what else? There's this trophy over here. What is this? Ah! This appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? It's an impressive-looking back What? I have no doubt if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away. It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no honor. For no higher honor. It is certainly not a back-scratcher. Would you like a massage? It does seem like it would be good for that function. Let me take off my coat and... I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Enoch Drebber than just conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. And how about you, Mr. Narrowhead? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not gonna let that go, is he? It's curious, though, isn't it? You would expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. The science trophy has been entered in the court. Let's look at that. I wanna take a closer look at that. There's a little metal plaque here, fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. Seems rather ironic, doesn't it? But clearly Mr. Drebber really was a very talented scientist. I mean, yeah. Stream is good. I just feel the need to check every once in a while. Back scratcher! Back scratcher! I don't think there's anything else to examine on this. But the photograph thing. They said there was a picture in here, maybe? Hold on. Oh, look! The cover came open. Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. Is something wrong? There is no plate. It's been removed. Yeah, because it's a prop camera. Why would they have that? Yeah. Why did we even take this? We didn't need this. I mean, we have it now. It's in our evidence log, but I don't know why we took this. I mean, I guess now we can take pictures. So, oh ho ho! What are those? Whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I simply can't help myself. Yes, Father tells me the time by the rumblings of... Okay, I don't... the blood? The blood, though? Look, Mr. Naruhodo. On the bellows just here, there seem to be some very dark red stains. Yes, you're right. Looks like blood. Oh my. I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Huh? Get out of here. Blood on the machine. Alright, well that will definitely come up in the future. Alright, what else is there to check in here? What on earth is this? An aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Is that how the trick will be described, is it? Sorry? Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is yes, but a real aeroplane would actually fly high in the sky. I can fly twice as high, a reading rainbow. Suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course. Because large metal objects obviously can't really stay in midair on support. Obviously, aeroplanes aren't real. So to you, the solution is even taller towers? Oh, wait, pan up. Another one of these pan up things. And then I click on it and it goes back down. Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. We can't touch it, just like we couldn't touch that. We'll just let Sholmes touch it. He's not gonna follow the rules. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped on the floor or nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here. My dear fellow. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just those two, Mrs. Saka. So there's not really anything else up here. This door doesn't want to open. Yeah, looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on his way over from the yard, so hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I could have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission, and no one's giving it to you. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Ha! You can't open the door! You can't open the door! You can't open the door! Sorry, that was a full bite of food I put in my... Hold on. Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side. No, Drebber must have fled at the first... I gotta stop doing that. I'm like choking up the talk airwaves with all the pretzel eating and water drinking. I'm gonna have to... I filled my water bottle up before the stream. I'm gonna have to go refill it like less than an hour in. I guarantee it. Huh? Huh? Whoa? Whoa? Oh, is something wrong? Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I didn't know. What do you reckon, Toby? Right, mind the grease, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. It's a Scotland Yard. Clomp, 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 clomp. Clonk. Oh my. Someone is in there. Ah, that's rotten bleeding look. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. Alright, fine, I'll take the rap for it. God, just to get us to this blasted door. There! You may enter it with. You've confused minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency. Excuse me, it's all pretzel juice. Pretzel juice in my lungs, in my heart, in my chest, in my throat, in my larynx. What? I don't know what I'm fucking saying anymore. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. The imposter is behind that door. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. He may try to kill you. What? What? What's the... Why? What is that? What? What's happening here? Why is everything upside down? Rats! There ain't no one in here after all. Wait, is everything... What? Why is everything... There must be. It was only moments ago we heard those noises. Maybe that was the sound of Mr. Drebber running away. But there's only one door. And no windows that could afford an escape. I see there are footprints on the roof next to the windows. I don't think the skylights are too high, actually. What's up there? Are those footprints on the ceiling? Blow me! What have we here, then? And nobody's noticed the, like, dynamite with a clock attached? That seems concerning. Looks like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry. Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. To what? To that Professor Hair... To that Professor Hairbrain's balmy machine, is it? Blimey! If we'd had these, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. There is something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. Oh, he definitely climbed out the window. He climbed up with the rope and out the window. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. What? Can you just tell me what the rope was for? I already know what the rope was for, dude. We never talked to Gregson in the other room, but apparently it doesn't matter. It's a very large safe. I don't suppose even Mr. Sholmes could open that lock. Although, if you were a thief, you could just steal the entire thing, I suppose. It's bolted to the floor to prevent exactly that sort of underhand trick, Mr. Naruhodo. Well then, you could just steal the floor as well, I suppose? I'm sorry, but you really aren't making any sense. Whatever is inside, it must be very important. Okay, I'll click on the bomb in a minute. Let me get the feet print on the roof. There's no denying it, is there? They're footprints. Yes, it would appear so. Isn't there a... I simply can't imagine how they came to be there. Isn't there a Susato shoot-up or something? Susato shoot-up! Pew, pew, pew! Like a Susato takedown, I mean. I'm no Wonder Woman, Mr. Naruhodo. It would make her almost superhuman, I suppose. Okay, but somebody... The balloon, maybe? Really lovely model. Looks just like a real flying balloon. I think it's probably staying aloft on the same principle as a full-sized balloon, using gas. A green Okay, I'm thinking the rope was hooking this to the ground and he rode it up somehow, and then the footprints on the roof are him, like, reaching around, opening these windows, and climbing out the top. The whole thing was planned here in this very workshop? The whole secret scheme. The Mastermind's headquarters. Okay, why is there a bomb here? That's what I'm concerned about. Have you found something? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? It's a... There we go. Miss Susato, what's the matter? That's a... Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? Yeah, why is nobody else reacting to that? What did you say? Time bomb? Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly? Eh? Ah, ha, 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 ha. You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. And nobody else is freaked out about this. Okay. You don't know nothing, do you, Noodle? You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gene? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Oh, it's not a time... Okay, good. Thank goodness. But then, what is it? I see. So that's it. Goodness, Mr. Sholmes. There are times where I consider my lot most unfair, for I'm fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learnt to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Miss Susato. Here we go. I feel a great deduction coming. I can hear the music. Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Mr. Drebber himself. But how could you... And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is without question completely genuine. Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything. It would be a pleasure. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. That face. That face, dude. I'm pouting. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear madam. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. I'm gonna take a drink of water before we start this one, because these are always a wordful. Kindly stand just there, Miss Susato. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Great deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Flipped furniture. Dancing, walking, rearranging furniture. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table and chairs, the lamp. The table and chairs, the lamp, it's one thing. Everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that, indeed, the key here is gravity? I am making everything float with my mage powers. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed, and then, suddenly, restored to normality. My goodness. The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Miss Susato. I, too, was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device. What is he cooking? What is he cooking? What is he cooking? I made it up from a dream. It was source, my dreams. An anti-gravity device, almost identical to the one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact. Where are you going with this? Why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. That is a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment that restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. I feel like pretending to be a wax worker for too long is getting to your head, dude. Like, anti-gravity devices? This is worse than the soap eating theory. Like, what? So you see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room. That's the entirety of topic 1. It's just gravity. Gravity was reversed by Mr. Drebber and then restored later. I've witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. That's source. I got it from my dreams. Topic 1, flipped furniture. Conclusion, because gravity was reversed. Topic 2, missing engineer. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is. Upside down again! By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving these footprints behind on the way. But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. Upside down, Susato. Upside down, Susato. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Drebber fall into the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and Philosophically, a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Okay, you're getting there, you're getting there. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to something. Who cares? He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now. Just for fun. And topic 2. Missing engineer. Conclusion. Escaped via the skylight. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Alright. For God's sakes, man. What? Gina's just like looking at the dog. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, I would expect... There's just one thing that troubles me. I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. I feel like Sholmes is trying less hard to actually figure out information now that he has me along with him all the time. He's just like, I'll come up with some, like, half-cocked theory, and then Rienosuke will figure it out for me. Is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean? I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis. So, it's not... Your whole deduction hinges on it. Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. However improbable it may seem. I feel like I got that phrase backwards. Impossible, isn't it? It's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my more endearing pearls of wisdom. I had Irish come up with the exact phrasing. My original was, clumsy. Yes, I have a feeling I've read it in something that Miss Susato lent me once.
Objection!
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was, in no coils near the wall. But if Drebber had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? There it is. Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find, 2 ropes. And as evidence of such, you need only look at the mystery we face in this room, now skillfully unraveled. Tell me what the answer is now, please. I'm confused. Great deduction before... Enoch Drebber's gonna be long gone by the time we finish this. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, the chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Floating items. The inverted furniture clearly protrudes. The upside down furniture is curious. Like, I mean, he could have just tossed and turned the place, but like, if that was the case, wouldn't we have been butting in somewhere earlier? I don't know, weird. To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room, I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation. But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so... Yes, you're quite right. We must completely discount the idea at once. Ooh, that's unusually merciless of you, Susato. When you have unlimited the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he? While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices. Yes, I suppose so. Dancing, walking, rearranging furniture. Also, not everything is upside down. Like, the safe isn't upside down. You know, what here breaks the laws of Sholmesian gravity theory? So it's this, the safe. No? Okay. Unlike every other piece of furniture in this room, the safe is not upside down. Oh, but it's bolted to the floor. Mr. Naruhodo, I implore you to observe more closely. As you can see, the safe's feet is firmly bolted to the floor, saving it from any effects of the gravity. But there is one thing we can learn from your misguided conclusion. A good deduction is no mean feat! It's a feet pun! And feet, but their feet instead are little toes, with the little toes with the little tingers on them. They're feet. Feet pun. Feet. Can we at least make jokes at my expense funny? Feet joke. Oh, wait. This. Take that! The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. It's always some, like, little thing in a corner that Sholmes doesn't see when he's looking around. Because he only sees stuff that, like, reinforces his theories every time. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes. This is our thing. This is what we do. As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture in the room is upside down, this unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all! Damn it! My deepest sympathies for your loss. Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance is not, in fact, an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? They were looking for something. Seems pretty obvious to me. Quite! And naturally, there is an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. He's absolutely determined that this device, he's hyper-fixated on the device, isn't he? I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong. Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. So whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. Oh, he's looking for the safe code? Oh, that's funny. Look, there's something within the underside of this armchair. Safe 432582. Safe, as in safe and secure? As in secure lockable box, I think. Admittedly more likely. There is a safe bolted to the... Yeah, okay. So this is the safe's code. This. He couldn't remember what piece of furniture it was written under. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely! I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not? What? Yes, last year, when I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of a book, just in case. That's it. People are forgetful souls at heart, And we'll always make a written note, and we should always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket safe itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruhodo? When the day of the draw came round, I'd forgotten which book I wrote the number in, and I had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it! Upside down! Not if you always note things in the same place. I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped the ticket into, so thank you, Mr. Naruhodo, but I believe I've proved my point now. That angry, like, whole face he had when his light got turned off mid-sentence. The great deductions are so good. I love... Is this the first case to have 2 of them? I don't know, but I appreciate this case having 2 of them. They're freaking great. I love this crap. A very similar scenario was clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. Like, it's very telling that originally Shu Takumi wanted to make a full game just based around this mechanic. Because honestly, this mechanic is good enough to be the center point of a full game. I'm glad it's not. I'm glad it's like one part of a like Ace Attorney style prequel thing. But man, these sections are always a highlight. The occupation of the room. You remembered? Yeah, okay. Leading to the state in which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. The combination code we now have. Topic 1. Flipped furniture. Conclusion. To find the safe combination. Solved. Now for topic 2. Let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Why are the footprints on the ceiling? The footprints on the ceiling because of the skylight. Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, how did those footprints get there? Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery becomes harder and harder to solve. Yeah, that's basically what that said. I can't think of any other way to explain it all. Oh, life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place. Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail. Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. I'm glad I didn't... Okay.
Take that!
I should have read the text. I was trying to read the text on the balloon and I pressed R by mistake. Whatever. Mr. Drebber... What did they say? Mr. Drebber, clearly a man of dreams, used the balloon to ascend to the ceiling and plant his feet on the roof. That is honestly what I thought was actually going on, so now I'm confused. I take no pleasure in delivering bad news, but the undeniable truth is, it's clearly too small. What? I knew you were going to say that. My dear fellow, then you are twice the fool. If people could fly in such small balloons, why would anybody ever manufacture larger ones? I despair of your lack of common sense at times, Mr. Naruhodo. Despair of your lack of common sense. Okay, so... I don't know, I thought maybe it would be... I mean, it's kind of big. Looks like maybe it'd be big enough to carry him up there for like a minute or two. Weird. Really, it's hard to... Okay, let me, like, read the text for this. This is a gas balloon, isn't it? It's tiny, but it doesn't seem to be a real balloon. Yes, I think you're right. It's the helium that's keeping it up. A green gas balloon. There are footprints on this balloon, too. I don't know what that tells us, but... Only windows in the room. Gravity can't expand, they got there. Powerful springs in the soles of the man's shoes could. Have you been having strange dreams as well? What? I genuinely don't. What am I doing? Why is his shoe up here? What is going on? It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there. Look! Oh yes, and there are more little footprints on this little balloon, too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged? If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up? What is going on here? This is actually very confusing. Let me try presenting the shoe. There's really nothing else to, like... Yeah. There's nothing else up there, so, like, I guess it's the shoe. The reasons there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. Why did it walk on the balloon? In other words, the name was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But why was it? But for what purpose? And how, like, there's no way throwing your shoes at a balloon. There's no way throwing your shoe at a balloon in the air would make footprints that, like, strong. So I feel like that confusion is not my fault. It was a piece of a green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruhodo and Iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon that Master Gotts claims he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second bird cage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say, if we assume the balloon in here is a model of the one used on the day, there is a strong possibility something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. Still doesn't explain how he escaped, though. The balloon's out of reach. Hence why he resorted to a projectile. Namely, the shoe. Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with the shoe. Instead, he somehow made footprints on the roof and the balloon as well, and then his shoe got stuck up there. A rather unfortunate series of L's, I must say. We desperately need to examine the balloon. If only there was some way we could see inside. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? Mr. Sholmes managed to bring back the deduction to the rope. Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. So we just throw the rope... We're not even deducing anymore. We're just figuring out how to get the balloon down here. Like, okay. We're just presenting evidence during this. We're not... This isn't even a great deduction. Where do we have to get it down here? The crossbow?
Take that!
Just shoot it with a crossbow? Yeah. Shoot it with the crossbow. Shoot it with the crossbow. The crossbow will shoot through the air. If the man had only brought it away with him on that day, he could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. Yeah, he should not have left the crossbow there. That was an L on his part. So, shall we? Okay, we never figured out how he escaped the room, though. What's it like? That was the... We never got topic 2 conclusion of the second part. We never solved it. We didn't finish the great deduction yet. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside this balloon? We'll get that, and then we can finish. What? What is that? What the... A waxwork? The head of the professor. A waxwork head inside a metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and impenetrable lock. Just a moment. The head, yeah. The head of the professor. I see you've joined the dots, Miss Susato. The case of the abducted Madame Two-Spill's model that you'd largely solved. It's now solved. Indeed it is. But I believe Madame Two-Spills will now have to settle her sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous professor. Yes. But, why is it here? Yeah, why does he have that in the balloon? Like, what? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the professor from Madame Tussaud's and returning it, sans date, earlier today, was none other than Enoch Drebber. It's all connected. Now, why he did any of this, I don't know. That's your job to figure out, Rianovsky. I don't envy you. Professor Harebrain's case and the waxwork abduction are inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. Are we gonna finish the great deduction, or are we just... Okay. Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure. Where is Enoch Drebber? He didn't. He must be still here in this room, and his location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together during this deduction. Mr. Naruhodo, will you do the honors? Where in the room is Mr. Enoch Drebber? The cupboard? I don't know, dude. Behind this? Wardrobe. Large safe. The cupboard.
Take that!
It's over, Mr. Drebber. We know you're in there. And he throws open the cupboard. Oh. My dear Fenno, he wouldn't be in there. It's a cupboard, after all, for cups and saucers. Okay, so the only thing he's big enough to fit into would be a wardrobe. I don't... Where could Mr. Drebber be hiding? I'm sure that we've already come across a clue that reveals the answer. If you need to hide, there's no better place than a wardrobe. We'll find him there, mark my words. He'll be curled up in a ball and trembling. Or is it the safe? He wouldn't fit in there, though. He wouldn't be able to fit in the safe. What? Is he in the safe? Okay, then my cupboard argument, there's no reason he couldn't be in the cupboard. Not there, Mr. Naruhodo. You could always climb inside yourself. Please don't mind us, go ahead. I know how fond you are of wardrobes. Great, okay. Let me save, because I don't want it to make me do the whole great deduction again. That would not be fun. And I have 1 life left. This will be my first ever death on a what happens if I game over on a great deduction section? I've never done that before. Which is, there's only one more real option to click on, right? There's no other place to click on. I guess the skylight, but we've already said he's not in the... Is he in the safe? That'd be so... How did he fit in the safe but not the cupboard? I have complaints. We heard noises, which tells us that the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was, in fact, searching for the combination to his safe. And pressed for time, he made no attempt to right the furniture that he overturned in the process, from which we conduce that his search for the combination happened very recently indeed. I assumed he just had a loot that he needed to get out of there before he left. But I guess hiding in there works too. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. I'm just imagining him like curled up in the safe in like a little ball, just hearing like this muffled like, at this very moment, Enoch Drebber is inside the wardrobe. Wrong, Mr. Naruhodo, wrong. Oh, okay, at this very... Please don't come in here, please don't come in here. At this very moment, he's inside the safe! Fuck! Fuck! Shit! Just like him hearing their whole great deduction through like muffle, like on the outside. This concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Oh god, he's coming closer. Topic 2. Missing engineer. Conclusion. Inside the safe. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary. I was just like talking into my hand. His ears are all muffled. So, Mr. Naruhodo. I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide and seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. The combination was 1 4 3 2 5 8 2. I knew that. Alright then, here goes. Like Rianovsky's not very smart, like honestly. I mean, he's kind of observant, but yeah, there he is. Oh, you found me. Do a barrel roll! What the hell? Got a robot hand. What is this guy doing? Is this guy like a robot? What is happening here? Why is he moving like this? The robot, the robot. Right then, sir. Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume. Correct. You'd better start talking. You tricked Professor Harebrained with that bogus machine you built. This guy's so obviously sus looking, I don't know why Harebrained ever trusted him. And you shall have to explain the theft of the waxwork from Madame Two-Spills as well. Well, I would be delighted to answer your many questions. Personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate? Your parcel? I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in a most prominent position. Ah! There was a time bomb here the whole time, and we spent all that time being like, anti-gravity device! Oh, upside down! The anti-gravity device! Flip the room upside down! You know Drebber was sitting in that safe being like, please! Like, he's just hearing us go, and then the anti-gravity device took him onto the roof, and he's like, yes, yes, keep stalling until you blow up! Ha 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 ha! Stunned silence, I see. You're all giving up to die with me, then? No! Mr. Sholmes, with only 7 seconds to spare. I told you it was a time bomb! That was too close for comfort. Are you trying to help us get a killer or get killed? Blimey, all that time with anti-gravity devices and shit. Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they? Seriously, I was worried. I don't know what Drebber's voice is yet. Seriously, I was so worried he was just going to blow us all up with his stalling. Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say. What are you? You are a strange and stupid man. You are a strange and stupid man. I don't know what voice to give this guy yet. Is he like this? Is he like this? Is he like this? Is he robotic? I don't know. Beep up, beep up. I don't know what voice to do. I'm gonna refill my water real quick. What on earth happened in here? You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Yeah, well, we'll be giving it a thorough going over, don't you worry, Drebber. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop. That I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt. It's just like harebrained, but different, kind of. My hypothesis! I mean, this is how all scientists talk in the Great Ace Attorney verse. I say so. I'm in charge! Ah, that would have been me. For some reason, I'd woke in fine fettle today. No words, just tightly squeezed chips. Clearly, I must have a screw-loose, though, as I could not remember the combination for the safe. And another one loose, as I couldn't remember which piece of furniture I'd written it down. On which piece, rather. We also found a rope over by the wall. Yes, I had hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So I then set about searching for the combination code to... So we did try to go skylight, then. So I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe. Bip-bop, 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 bip. And burning the incriminating blueprints, don't forget. Regrettably, though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters. And after that, you hid yourself inside the safe, having first set this parcel ticking. Well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. I don't know. It's a weird... I'll figure out his voice at some point. I have not figured it out yet, but I will figure it out. Got a death wish, have you? Unwrap outside a ticking time bomb? Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide inside the safe? It's no ordinary safe. It's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it. Ah, so he was sitting in there, like, knowing he was safe in the safe, being like, yes, yes, keep talking about anti-gravity devices until you explode! And as Sholmes is just out there like, and then he used the device to fly into the sky, and then he reversed the gravity of the room, and I think we should reverse it again. And he's just in his safe like, hee 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 hee, you will not stop me, you will not catch me. You will all blow up and I will escape. But once you'd climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be unlocked from within. Ah, so it is. I had always intended to blow this place to smithers in any case. I just wasn't expecting an uninvited guest to come along and screw up my plans. You mean to say you planning to blow us all up? No, that was unforeseen. Of course, once you came into the room, Sure, it was time. And you almost fell for it, too, if it hadn't been for your meddling great deduction. It's calculating how long it took you to do that. Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. I calculated the time required for a retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. Oh, so he was literally trying not to blow us up. And we almost blew up anyway because Sholmes and everyone in this room apparently is too dumb to recognize what a time bomb is. I don't know why only Susato recognized it. Like none of the cops knew what that was. Your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. What on earth were you talking about? Anti-gravity machine? As if that's even possible. You foolish simpletons. You almost blew yourselves away. You almost blew yourselves to smithereens. Back and forth about where I was hiding and all that. Me escaping through the skylight? I mean, it was a fine guess. It is odd that my footprints are so clean up there. Is something wrong, Mr. Gregson? Do I have something on my face, besides the usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth? What about the 2 incidents you've been involved in recently? Professor Harebrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor. Clad in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection, but that's enough. Oh, she's here. Hey. What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here. Yes, well, Dr. Scythe again. So the forensic investigation team are here. And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. Okay, why does she not want us to have access? She's sus. Scythe is. I don't know if she's the killer for this case, but she seems like she's involved in some cover-ups and stuff. Like, as the autopsy, like, I don't trust anything she says. She says that the Odie Asman in the machine and the Odie Asman in the tower are like the same fingerprints. I don't trust her on that. I think she's covering stuff up. And that's why she's mad that we're being allowed to investigate this scene and talk to Enoch. My dear madam, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance, is it, Dr. Scythe? Sholmes knows everybody, dude. Hello, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Scythe? If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you are quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell. You'll get out. But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Narahoda. Yes? It would appear that our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today. But Mr. Sholmes, let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out. Now, all of you. Your presence here is not required either, Gregson. Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place, and the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb set in here that this lot disarmed. How did we even disarm it? What did we... We just kind of let him out of the cage, and then I guess he disarmed it? Really don't know how we did that, to be honest. Something giving you a... Oh, that's his laugh? Something giving you a chuckle, is it, Drebber? Was that a chuckle? Was that you laughing? I don't... so sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes. You did disarm that one. Eh? What are you... That one? You mean... Uh-oh. He left one at the other machine? Oh no. Oh dear. It was an hour later that we heard the news. The enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage of the Great Exhibition. Professor Harebrain's invention and all its secrets were blown away forever. To be continued. It was a good hour and a half we got of investigation. It wasn't an additional 20 minutes, it was an additional hour and 20 minutes. I am pleased. I am very pleased. We got to explore the lab. Do 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 do. Alright, well, I've been going for an hour and a half. I can definitely keep going though. We're not gonna finish the trial today, but I could definitely like get a little bit into it at least, I think. Do 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 Discord is being bad. I'm trying to check something and it is not. Not wanting to load. Okay, hold on. Trial Part 3. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll go into the trial for a little bit. Maybe another hour? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how juicy it is. Return of the Great Departed Soul. Trial, Part 3. I just saved twice for no reason. 24th October, 9:11 a.m. The Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. Good morning to you, Mr. Navajo. Ah, good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I hope so. I should be. Even without it, I had nothing to... Good morning, my dear fellows! Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're here. Why, naturally, a true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battle at all times. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later, then. Now, Professor... The music change. We really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today. Yes, do try your hardest not to enter the witnesses' stand uninvited again. Yes, I will. I realize it was a mistake, but My dear fellows, I must interject. Sholmes, what's the matter? Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction. Sorry, I don't follow. Must I spell it out? I, the great Herlock Sholmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclamation, arose at some ungodly hour to be here now, first thing in the morning. A miracle, you must agree. Well, if I must agree, then... As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me, and kicked me from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last I was bestirred. Oh my, Iris has been busy. Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice. Ah, I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist. One who relishes the infinite possibilities of blending tea. These two haven't met yet, which is funny. Because these two would actually very much get along. I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory. Sorry to cut in. Oh no, it's Gregson. For some reason I thought it'd be Courtney Scythe. Sorry to cut in. Oh, Inspector Gregson, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Inspector Gregson. Good morning, good morning. I apologize for that. We're going to continue now. Gregson, my dear fellow, why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression, eh? Dear me, are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor? What? What? I don't know! Anyway, here's the paperwork he asked for. What paperwork? Ah, I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful. One last little piece of evidence for you. You wouldn't believe the hoops I had to jump to get this brought out of the archives. It's the professor's autopsy report. That mass murderers? Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy. He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago now. It was all done under wraps. And he was quickly executed soon after the trial. It's all in here. The autopsy report. The lore. The professor lore. Us lot of the y'all are just doing what we can. In the shadow of the great detective Sholmes, of course. Well then, Professor Harebrain, this is it. Today we're going to leave this all to rest at last. I wish you the best of luck, Professor. I suppose he'll be in there today, will he? Drebber. Yes, we expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness. I'm still amazed you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much. Counsel and the defendant, trial's about to resume. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. An hour and a half into the stream, almost exactly. We're back in trial. The final chapter of the third case. No, I've felt this before, actually. Strange foreboding. I feel like this is the first time we're really, like... Something's going to happen in this trial that I'm not ready for. Uh-oh, big game-changing twist ahead? Guess we'll see. On the next stream. No, we're not done yet. I mean, it's been an hour and 30. I could stop, but why would I? This is good. This is good stuff. Kazuma's here. Kazuma's here. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the public hearing of Albert Harebrain, here present, who stands accused of murder. Are the counsels for the prosecution and the defense ready to proceed? The prosecution is ready, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. He has got Kazuma along his side, his apprentice with memory loss. If I may, Lord Von Zeeks. Yes, my lord? There appears to be someone standing at your side. Ah, yes, my apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably. That's why I've already got my finest wine bottle ready. I therefore instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial, via his sword that he's allowed to bring in here for some reason. Okay, cool. And the smooth running of liquid refreshments by the look of it. I don't have stuff ready. I haven't cooked for trial today. Unfortunately, is the problem. The way he holds himself, the way he moves, it couldn't be anyone else. But he's still suffering from amnesia. So there's really nothing we can do at the moment. I know, but it's so very hard. It would appear the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands of the court made yesterday. I understand you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question. Yes, my lord. I intend to call him as a witness shortly. Very good, very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who have been chosen at random to represent the will, are you ready and willing to proceed? Of course, my lord. I so despise deception and to take a man's life with a conjuring trick. It is against the magician's code, not to mention the law. Any fake scientist shall feel the wrath of God, if you ask me. We have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence and settle on one. That's it, isn't it? Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Von Zeeks. Before I do, my lord, there is a report I must read to the court. Yesterday, at the Great Exhibition Grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case, the super-high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, was deliberately destroyed in an explosion effected by an unknown person or personas. It was... What? We know who did it. It's Enoch Drebber. He alluded to it when we were... whatever. An explosion? This is an outrage! The Great Exhibition has not gone off without a hitch. It's had several hitches. I heard the grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard submitted a report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithers and the wreckage reduced to ashes in the flames. I have here a photographic print of the scene, taken in the wake of the explosion. There's a little hole contraption. Interesting. Shows what remains of the machine. Yes. Terrible business. He did it to destroy the evidence, did he? That Enoch Drebber. The court will take this print as evidence, counsel. Post-explosion photograph. Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded to the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Just made it harder to... This is going to make it harder for us, isn't it? Oh, shoot. Make it easier for Von Zeeks to pin, Harebrain. As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity. Indeed. A most unfortunate state of affairs. However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the actions of the accused. Of that we can be certain. For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine and who ultimately caused its loss of control.
Objection.
As Lord Von Zieks rightly says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Asmund died as a result of the accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters. Names, counsel, if you please, even though this is information from last trial that we're recapping. The engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Asmund. So what exactly were these two men up to behind the defendant's back? What were they cooking? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. Thank you, counsels. The positions of the prosecution and defense have been clearly stated. Lord Von Zieks, summon your first witness, please. At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to the stand. There he is. Robot hand arm guy. State your name and occupation for the court. Name, Enoch Drebber. Occupation, hard to pin down, I would say. See that black monocle? Well, why do I feel as though... Oh, you too? I've seen that somewhere before. I had the exact same feeling myself. This is funny. But I like to chew on corn. Once I started talking like this, it was hard to stop. Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. The theft of a waxwork model, is it? A most extraordinary sounding business. But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Cleave it from your mind. Cleave it from your mind. You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago? The accused super high voltage instantaneous... How many times am I going to have to say super high voltage instantaneous kinesis while playing this game? It's a lot. It's a lot. I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Drebber, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Oh, so our investigations indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it in precise accordance with the blueprints, but that is all. He blew it up, so now there's no way to prove the machine was a fraud. At least not transparently, not yet. The court would be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure. An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last. What? Good gracious! Do you mean to say that the experiment was bona fide? Is that your belief, sir? Is that your belief, sir? Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up. But we've already established the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick. You've established nothing of the sort. Because for some reason the forensic team didn't do their job before, they had plenty of time to investigate it before it blew up. All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings is that the same outcome could have been produced by means of stage trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility, nothing more. But... We've procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration at the Great Exhibition. Understood. Understood. I don't know what voice to give this guy. It's kind of a weird, robot, scientist. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asmund's introduction. He provided me with the blueprints and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash head first into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. A body double? That goes without saying, surely, to give the impression that something has moved when in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. But would I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those... This guy's movements are so... I just thought that, like how much of him is made of metal under that outfit? So weird. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asmund had no twin siblings. It's my understanding that this witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely, the construction of what, by all accounts, must have been an extremely complex scientific machine. Well, whatever do you mean? Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Drebber. Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Yes, it's true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field. That evil frickin' grin, dude. Like, what? This guy's the most obvious villain that I think this entire game has had. Investigation of the witness's workshop attests to that claim, my lord. As evidence, the police found the Royal Society trophy for young talent and science in there. Yes, that's true. We spotted it there ourselves. If a hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sowed the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling, talentless scientists in the past. Would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was an unfortunate accident? Or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by misuse of the science? Counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. Cross-examination. The kinesis machine. Met the young professor approximately 1 year ago with the blueprints.
Hold it!
It's clear that you have both scientific knowledge and knowledge of conjuring magic, however. The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to handle whatever comes along. But your implication is that I furnished the machine with some trickery, I think. It's a possibility that we have to explore. Unfortunately, though, the machine has been blown to Kingdom Come, so there's really nothing left to explore, is there? It appears that the kinesis machine was fitted with a timed explosive device of some kind. And there's nothing left of that device either. Not a single shred of evidence remaining, I hear. Malfunction? I don't know, dude. Is he actually? He's got a bunch of cybernetic stuff. Like, it's weird. Weird design. In any case, it's abundantly clear that the experiment couldn't have been a trick. Now, why? Why is that? The whole show was a fraud with the body double thing. Of course, that's it. Mr. Asmund was a twin. Perhaps my learned friend wasn't listening earlier. Mr. Asmund had no twin siblings. No, I heard you before. The thread of hope hadn't quite left me. The demonstration could have been a trick, if there was somebody who looked sufficiently like the victim. But Dr. Scythe absolutely ruled that out as well. Can we trust Dr. Scythe, though? Can we trust what she's cooking? Is her food of legitimate quality? It is beyond question that the victim himself, Mr. Asman, did move from the stage to the Crystal Tower. And the fingerprints found at the scene attest to the fact. So it can't have been orchestrated using someone who looked identical to Mr. Asman, then. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? What am I cooking? Someone who looked identical to the victim? That's what I've been thinking since the beginning, since they introduced waxwork, but the game keeps suggesting otherwise. I don't know what to do.
Hold it!
Why is my D... why is my D button held down? Oh, shoot. Hold on. That could be a problem. I just noticed the D button on my keyboard is pressed down. Thankfully it's not used for this game, but... How do I get it unstuck? How do I uncook this? There we go, I got it. Okay. It crashed head first, you say? According to the many witness reports from those there at the time, yes? Were you not there on that day? Unlikely. I rarely leave my workshop. Yet another of your unique inventions was found at the scene. What about it? Well, it was the unveiling of a machine I'd labored over for many months. I saw it clearly with my own eyes. The birdcage plummeting head first into the tower. So now he's saying he was there? Come on, you little... I believe the victim's neck was broken from the headlong fall, wasn't it? He's doing, like, Marvel computer hands. He's, like, scanning info in his brain. Even an infernal recluse like me reads the newspapers here. Jarvis, show me this guy's balls. Jarvis, show me the evidence, Jarvis. According to reports, the 2 injuries were apparent on the victim's body. Yes, he'd been stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver believed to belong to the defendant, and he had broken vertebrae as a result of a fall from a considerable height. Correct. My learned friend has been doing his research, it seems. My learned friend. Hello to my little friend. Do we know which injury was the fatal one? Wait, what were the 2 injuries? Broken vertebrae, stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver. We don't know which one is that. Forensic science is not yet at a level where such things can be determined. What we do know is that the victim died having sustained both injuries at some point during the experiment, and since he was found in the birdcage with his neck broken, it's obvious that he fell from a considerable height. I suppose that's hard to deny.
Hold it!
So you understood the science, did you? Not in the slightest. Oh, right. As I've said a number of times, I'm an engineer. My job is to manufacture according to the blueprints I'm given. I would be inviting manifold problems if I foolishly allowed my brain to digest the ideas behind them. I could be accused of stealing those ideas, for example. But how is it possible to construct a machine without really understanding the principles it relies on? Well, you're practicing law without really understanding the principles it relies on, aren't you? Very good point. Stand up for yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. The point is, the experiment resulted in instantaneous kinesis taking place. As such, the science must be sound. Yes, and really, experimental results are all that matters when it comes to proving a hypothesis. Hypothesis? Everyone says it like that in this universe. He's certainly very sure of himself. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that the machine has been completely destroyed, it's going to be impossible to argue its authenticity one way or the other. But if we're unable to establish that it was a piece of stage trickery rather than genuine science, we will have no grounds on which to demonstrate Harebrain's innocence. Both Mr. Asman and this man in the stand tricked the professor and used him. They took advantage of his naivety and his unbending belief in his work, and I won't let them get away with it. And seeing as the professor is an old friend of Lord Von Zieg's, what on earth must he be feeling towards Drebber? Drebber's his real target, I can guarantee it. Number photo approximately. We haven't pressed this one. I guess I'll press it. I doubt I'm going to get any new evidence off of it. I probably just need to present something, but I want to read all the Drebber text I possibly can. So you were already acquainted with Mr. Asman himself? Not really. By chance, I'd seen his name mentioned in the papers, that's all. But his voice has changed. It's no longer robotic. It's kind of a... But I had no interest in his private affairs. If he was an unscrupulous investor, it was no concern of mine. I don't want to do like another stupid accent, though, is the thing. As long as people pay their bills, I take up my tools and construct what they ask for. Like, the name sounds German, but I don't think he is German. So, like, I don't want to do another one of those accents. Another, like, silly cartoon accent. So why did Mr. Asman approach you in particular, then? Who can say where the road goes? I presume because my name is associated with excellence in engineering. Not to mention excellence in fraud. Hard to gouge. But the point is, all I did was construct the machine according to the blueprints I was given. In other words, the kinesis machine was built on solid scientific principles. Yes, you might say that. Professor Harebrayne certainly has a mind like no other. He provided me with the blueprints and I constructed them. Okay. There's no trick. This whole show was a fraud. It would have required a body double. Let me look at this. Okay, so that's clearly a hole there. I don't know why that exists. But, I'll probably look into that later. Let me check this real quick. Pseudonym, the Professor. Death by hanging, midnight. Courtney Stevens. Rather than Courtney Scythe. I bet you it's the same Courtney, though. Just with a different... She took someone else's last name. Hold on, wait a minute. I haven't examined this yet. Hold on. If there's even anything to examine on it. Is it okay? Is there nothing to examine? It's just a wax head? Weird. Wait a minute, what the? That's a keyhole. This looks like a... This lock doesn't look very what? Okay. There's no way you could remove this mask if it was put on you, is there? What a terrible way to treat someone, even a convicted criminal. I know. It's starting to make me livid, actually. Mr. Naruhodo, please. I mean, just think about it. Imagine if you had an itch on your cheek all of a sudden. You'd be utterly helpless. Well, yes, that's true. But I'm not sure that warrants quite so much anger. Oh, right. Sorry. Okay. So, clearly I need a key to open that. Do not have one, so that will have to come later. This is just a chunk of ice. That is all that... Or a chunk of glass. It's as thick as ice, though. As thick as ice. Willing to sacrifice our love. Already checked all these pieces. What do I present? So the birdcage appeared above their heads and crashed head first. Wait a minute. Yeah, it didn't crash head first. It crashed bottom first. Okay, that's a tricky one, but yeah. We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the crystal tower ourselves. I feel like I just started talking way louder there for some reason, but it's fine. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. God, it's almost 7:30 where I am, and the sun still hasn't gone down yet. The days of only streaming after sundown are, like, over. It's spring now. It's summer. The spring season is here. Daylight savings is funny, haha. Following the explosion, the cage fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. Don't call me Shirley. What doesn't make sense is why you would call me Shirley, is the location of that damage. What if I just had a dog in a robot? We've hit that, like, point of sundown, though, where, like, if I cut stream right now and just lay down, I will just pass out for a while. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. What are you saying? That's the opposite of where they should be. That's right, my lord. The birdcage was at the scene. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two bird cages in play that day, which were at some point switched. Switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery. Why was the first couple letters of that orange? And the rest was white. That was weird. If we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower. But multiple witnesses' reports claim it fell head first. Multiple witnesses? Not just, Oh, because I guess Drebber was quoting multiple witnesses, yeah. The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage, following a spontaneous explosion at an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level, which is approximately 18 meters. Every time they give us feet, they need to give us meters too, and vice versa. It's so funny. It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the crystal tower in the ensuing deflagration. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable.
Objection!
Dun, 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 dun. But the victim's neck was broken. He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However he fell, it would be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. Analyze! A riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. Though, to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebra, actually. Funny evil machine man is sussy and he's gonna go. Find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Von Zeeks. This witness is clearly a swindler, and one who deceived a personal friend of his. If you're going to establish this deception, do it right. Sorry? I feel like that's the undertone here. Ah, yes, and there's one more point. One more point the defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What? It seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. What? It's still going? Okay. Amend your testimony. I nearly had him there. Doing the robot, doing the robot, doing the robot, yeah. Sussy robot man, ba-ba-bum. The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Nowhere else 30 feet high for the bird. The balloon. Hello? Right? The balloon. The balloon. The balloon! The balloon! The balloon, Naruhodo! You keep yelling that! What does that mean? You need to think, Naruhodo. Think! Okay, let's just press this statement, because I don't like it. What do you mean? Well, before the demonstration began, the victim was alive on stage in front of the audience. Yes, there are lots of witnesses who saw Mr. Asman on the stage, that's true. And the victim's neck broke as a result of an impact following a fall. Logically, therefore, the victim must have fallen from somewhere. The balloon that exploded was at an altitude of 60 feet. The point of impact on the tower was 30 feet up. That difference of 30 feet is therefore the total distance the birdcage fell. And there's no other location from which the stage could have fallen that distance if it didn't drop out of the sky. Ergo, the victim himself must have been beamed from the stage into the sky above the crystal tower. So we need to find another location he could have been dropped from. That's not the balloon. Could have fallen from up here, maybe? I feel like I'm stretching it, though. So maybe it slid into this trap and then somehow got moved up to the top and then fell from there? But how could that have... Still don't understand how this trickery was pulled. Magic tricks are not my thing.
Objection.
Was that it? Like it fell from the top of the building? This is the diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. It could have fallen from like here, I guess? We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling down into the crystal tower. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. Again with the feet and meter thing. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there is one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet. No. Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel. Yes, my lord, of course. You will indicate the place to which you are referring to on this diagram. Well, it just moved out of view, so I don't... What? It's just, I was thinking up there, but then the camera panned down. What is going on here? I mean, I guess it could have fallen from here, but like, how does that get it up there? I guess we're not solving that. We're just saying it fell 30 feet, and that's why it's damaged?
Take that!
The place I'm referring to is here. But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with. Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage, but what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself. Go on, counsel. It turns out the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. It's about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. Von Zieks is glaring at me like, stop saying things that don't make sense. Stop it. So it just fell down to the bottom there? Weird. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Great Scott! Ugh. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two. Dun, 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 dun. My learned friend has no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance and yes, I frickin' do, and you gave it to me, buddy. Take a moment to look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. Good lord! The metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone! Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Another recess? Like, how do we... I guess we can send somebody to do that. Mr. Drebber. It was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the two bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Malfunction! 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 Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not, it makes no difference, because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Asmon's life, and lay the blame firmly at the professor's door. Something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber. But then what was the shooting the green balloon down for? Was that just to make it look like he teleported? It's weird. Like, why take the body to the Crystal Tower? Did his mechanical eye just fall out? Objection. Perhaps you should go pour yourself a glass, streamer. If my learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions. No, he's just going to crush it immediately, so who cares? The prosecution would like to crush the defense's argument slowly, but surely. Please stop calling me Shirley. Your argument fails to hold water on two counts. Two? Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that. And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages. But I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to. The nonsense with the crossbow, that doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. Yeah, he would never have had an opportunity to move the body to the Crystal Tower. That's what I still don't get about this. There's a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take Asmon's life? He had no reason to do so. A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself? I have here a contract provided by the witness. What contract is this, Lord Fontiques? The contract into which Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Asmon. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. 30%? Certainly very favorable contractual conditions. But there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause. What provision? Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. Oh, weird. So maybe Drebber isn't the killer? Who could it be then? Who could it be now? Who could it be now? In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract will become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asmon's death. The diametric opposite, in fact. Ugh. I've just been assuming it was Drebber this whole time. Maybe it was an accident? I don't... Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest, is nil. Ugh. Wah! Oh, It seems the defense's assertion was wrong. Drebber's contract has been entered in the court record. It's true. If Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one on the Crystal Tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. There is one aspect of your argument. It still holds true, however. There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. Huh? So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. I have no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths, too. Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to the offer. I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine that I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. The prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I am the culprit.
Objection!
At the beginning of this trial, we believed there was only 1 birdcage, yet now we know there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to this demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Get to the point. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved. Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting... Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice.
Objection!
But who? An accomplice now. Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come. Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. Who the hell could his accomplice have been? Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter? This is little more than a hunch. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit. But I don't have anything else to go on either. I have to make my position clear. Did he have an accomplice or not? I mean, I guess I gotta name the accomplice. I have no idea who they are, but... The defense is ready to name Drebber's accomplice. But first he needs to save his game. Because he doesn't actually know who the accomplice is. What am I cooking? I don't know. Somehow the 2 bird cages must have been... Wait. I think I've got a theory. A game theory! You have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please? Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? There's a lot of characters here. Holy crap. I almost got full 2 pages. And surely her daughter's gonna show up at some point, filling up the 2 pages. So many characters. Gina and Gregson don't even make page 1. I think it's you. You're sus. Bring in the sussy doctor. The name of the person in question is... What's wrong, my Nipponese friend? Is it not her? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me. I'm sure we'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. No, he's just nervous, but you're on the lead. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. Oh, I love comforting help words from Susato. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, Counsel. Now. The person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe. What? What the blazes are you talking about, Dr. Scythe? The head of the forensic investigation team and the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim. Yeah, she can't be trusted! She can't be trusted! We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It can only have been in that team's presence. Yeah, the team that was allowed to operate where no one else was. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. So we're not just pinning Enoch Drebber here. We're also pinning Dr. Courtney Scythe. Let's frickin' go! Take it to the bank! You know, okay, we haven't done a jury summation examination yet. Like, we didn't do one in the first section of trial, which is concerning. I feel like we're gonna have to do one now, because I feel like the jury's not gonna buy into my accusing the coroner theory. You've got a nerve, lad. Standing up there, dragging the odd's name through the mud. I didn't mean to. I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal? My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. A grave problem? Haha, grave death. Haha, I'm sorry, this is not the time for a joke. Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What? Certainly, if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must also have contained a body. And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resemble. So, I was right about one of the bodies just being a wax figure, 100%. And all evidence to the contrary was fake, planted by the sussy Courtney Scythe. There was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman. That's true. If my argument is that there were 2 bird cages, it's a wax man. It's a wax man. I have an answer. Present evidence. Very well. The defense will present evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asman's body double. Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The court is expecting an... Filibustering has never been allowed here, but you do it all the time. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion? Aha! The body double was... the freaking wax figure! We know that the victim, Mr. Asman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage, and therefore he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower. Yes, counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events. And that body double inside the second birdcage was in fact... It's alright, Mr. Naruhodo. You're ready for this. Just steel yourself. Come out with it. Thank you, Miss Susato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. The wax figure that's just sitting here in the courtroom. That's so funny. We brought that to the courtroom. That's just been sitting here the whole time.
Objection.
Even though it has no relevance to the case, quote unquote. Open your eyes and look into mine, Nipponi's friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at? What are you cooking? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your true Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago. The Professor.
Objection.
You started by indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you've moved on to God, this theory's so stupid I can barely say it. Now you've moved on to indicting waxworks. Waxworks? Yes, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. Oh, malfunction. What? Just days before Professor Hairplane performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Two-Spills. Did you say abducted? And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then the timing... Is this true, Mr. Drebber? At first I couldn't see why Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now, the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second bird cage as a body double for Mr. Asman. He still has no motive, though. That is a problem we have yet to solve. Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Okay, this is where he convinces the jury to turn against me and I have to do a summation examination. I haven't done one yet. Here it comes. Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide? Yeah, they're not gonna vote in my favor. Wait! Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord, I need to speak if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Oh, great. Alright. I mean, this is the longest we've ever gotten without doing one of these. We went multiple days of trial. Day one did not have, the jury... We managed to stave off the jury for much longer than usual.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty! Guilty. So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus. I knew that was going to happen. Eventually. We always have to do one of these. I'm sure we'll uncover some new truths along the way. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual and see if I can persuade them to change their minds. The defense will now embark on the summation examination. He doesn't even bother asking me anymore. He's just like, the defense is going to do one of these because he always does. So, here we go. I ask you now to state clearly for all present here the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged. Alright. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. And that's actually where I'm going to stop, because I've been cricking my neck at a weird angle. It kind of hurts. Also, it's been about 2.5 hours, which has been like the consistent length of the last couple streams. Plus, I don't particularly want to do a jury summation examination right now, So I'm going to close the game. Yes, quit. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So that was a good couple hours of that there. We got some good investigation in, fun, great deduction. Got this trial started, and next stream we'll take down Courtney Scythe and Enoch Drebber. I have no idea if this is going to take me more than one stream or not. It might take me a few. At most, this will take me 2 more streams to beat, I think. Uh, but yeah. Um, those 2 streams should be a good time. So we'll be back with those. Those 1 to 2 streams. I guess it depends on how long I do them, really. But that was a good one. This case is really, really good. This case just keeps getting better, and I feel like they still have something big to throw at me. I genuinely can't predict this case either. Which is, I mean, I can predict some small things like, oh, the doctor's sus, or oh, there's a waxwork body double, or like this and that. But I had not pieced it all together until now. They're definitely keeping me on my toes, and I expect the rest to be no different as we enter the final sort of phase of this great trial. Arrivederci!